How's it going, guys? I hope you're all doing well. Today, I want to welcome you all to a very special episode of Vaughn Coleman Presents. I realize I kind of say that every time. And look, it's true every time. I want you guys to know that every episode of Vaughn Coleman Presents really is special. But this guest is a good friend of mine, and he's got some good stuff that I'm involved with. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Zackary Marois. Is it
Hey,
Marois? How
what's
do I?
up? It's Marois.
How is it?
Yeah, Marois.
Marois. Okay, I
Yeah.
should have asked you that before. And all this time we've been talking, I never asked, and I should have. But Zach has a campaign out right now, and it's called Voyage. And Voyage looks great. First of all, let's get that out of the way. All right,
Yeah.
Voyage. Let me get the link in the chat. Um, but Zach, before we get into Voyage, because I always like to get to know my artists
Right.
and all that. So just tell me about really what got you into comics to begin with.
So what broke me into comic books? It was fifth grade, and I got a copy of Web of Spider-Man issue number 66, and I read that book like 20 times, and I knew then I was like, this is what I want to do. So I didn't start taking art seriously until I was 18 years old, 19, because that's when I really started honing in repeatedly, like page after page. I was making mediocre books at the time. So yeah, I'd say as far back as fifth grade.
It's good stuff, man. That's where a lot of the best I think ideas come from. Because I was reading your when I first met Zach, it was with him and Bobby. If you are regular on my channel, you know those two, or maybe you went to the Cubert school with them. In whatever case, glad you're watching, whether it's right now while it's live or after the fact. And when I met them after a night out drinking, I came back and I got these, and I just read them, and I'm a big fan. I really like this stuff, and now I'm going to be working with Zach as an editor, and it's great. But so this is an idea you had from when you were a kid, basically, fifth grade.
No, I didn't have the idea. I just oh, sorry, man. It's been a long day. I've had the idea of what his solar system was like
Mm.
um around middle school, and then a year before I went into the Cooper school, I had a dream of a protector that would like represent that galaxy. And as amateur as that stuff was, I really started going into it more and more with the writing at the Cooper school. So I really fleshed it out there.
That's so cool. So you kind of created the world first, and then the character that would inhabit it and protect it. Is that?
Yeah. I was just creating like a bunch of like characters, like and believe it or not, it was funny is that my first character was Spider Kid, which is like an amalgamation of three different Spider-Man suits that I really liked reading. And I had this habit of creating characters that would be that would bounce off of a movie. So at the time, Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds came out, and even though that movie's very problematic as fans, what I did is I created a character from that, and then I was like, you know what, I want to go ahead and change this up completely. So I started um, making it like four different aliens, and one of those characters from that Green Lantern stuff was implemented into that I made, and then I
Mhm.
just started overhauling all that. So it was a good practice.
That's yeah. I mean, Green Lantern seems like it would be a great influence for alien related stuff. But one thing I like is you take it the extra mile because you address something that's kind of been I was thinking about it with Star Wars. Every Star Wars character, because I'm sure like everyone, I'm sure you have too. You've thought of your own Star Wars ideas. I think everyone has, right? Um, or maybe you haven't. But like you think, and I was realizing I was like, wait a minute, like there will be side characters that are aliens, right? But the main character is always a human,
Yep.
always, and then like every sci-fi movie. And what I like is you actually have basically, I mean, I know in the anthology there are some humans, but like really you have like no humans in your main story, right?
Yeah, there's no human involvement at all whatsoever. I feel like I wouldn't say it takes the magic away from it, but it definitely, to me, kind of just takes the magic out of the sci-fi, like pure sci-fi, deep in space type of adventure. And I feel like I truly believe you can accomplish successful comic stories with the main characters looking completely different than a human. And you can see that in prime examples like Zen Intergalactic Ninja. Predator has its own comic.
Hmm.
um Avatar, the Navi people. You have um Martian Manhunter is another one. Like Martian Manhunter had very cool, amazing, obscure series, and it's unfortunate that they're always, quickly done. Um, but yeah, those are good examples that it can happen. Like those things can achieve success
Hmm.
without it looking like a human.
Yeah, and Mega Man points out except Chewie, but yeah, but he didn't get his medal until like 3 movies later. You remember that they were like they finally like, let's give him his medal. It's like, dude, I mean, it's a little
Yeah.
late, but
Oh
okay.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, that was that's the thing is, but I think that definitely is something that I really like, and I also just want to commend the creativity from an artistic standpoint to not just come up with like one race of aliens, but all of them, and to have
Actually, it's funny. That was like one thing I really loved when I was approaching this issue. First thing I had to do was character sheets of these guys, and it should be here. Yep, there it is. And I got like drawings all over the place, but for the people looking in, these are actually the characters that are going to be in the first issue. So I'm definitely excited. But yeah, you can see that I like practicing different types of alien designs. Um, so
oh wait, hang on, let me share that real quick.
oh,
That sorry, go bring that up.
so yeah, like these are
Look at
some
that, man.
yeah, these are some designs that I had
Those are
before I even
great.
started doing the book, and I really like. I had a lot of joy doing these. Honestly, some of these designs just kind of like really shocked me because I didn't think they were going to be as good. I guess I was just screwing around at the time, and yeah. So those are some of the designs. Uh, but every character is going to be in that comic, and the comic is 48 pages, so there's a lot to show everyone.
Travko said Voyage looks like it fit right into 2000 AD.
2000 AD is actually one of my favorite comics.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah, tell us some of your favorite comics then.
So I'm not gonna do the mainstream comic stuff because that's like everybody's go-to Marvel and DC.
Well, give it
I
that
grew up with.
anyway. Give some of your favorites
Yeah.
because that always does something.
So like, I mean, obviously, Amazing Spider-Man, like anything Spider-Man related. Growing up,
Hmm.
I really loved. I got into that. I read all of the superheroes, but when I got into the Cooper School, I really started getting into the indie stuff,
Hmm.
and I got huge into 2000 AD, Resident Alien, James Herron's Ultra Mega, Daniel Warren Johnson's Run on Beta Ray Bill and Wonder Woman Dead Earth. Um, and then you got like the indie guys that like fund on Kickstarter, like Al Gofa with Dark Angels of Darkness,
Hmm.
and then Matt Emmons with Dagger, both Volume 1 and 2, Council of Frogs, and The Gardener. And these guys, like, when I started getting into the Kickstarter scene and backing people and reading that stuff, to me, I think it's better than picking up the mainstream comics. Um,
Yeah,
because
I would agree.
it's tiresome and it's
It's more
really
rewarding too. It feels like not just that you're a part of it, but it feels almost like the creator in a way. So
exactly. You can definitely feel the amount of work put in, the love and appreciation that the creators implementing into their stories, when you get the whole package in, when you read it, like especially like there was a comic I backed on Kickstarter, and unfortunately the owner died due to COVID, but the digital PDF got sent out and the book was called Upstarts. um and it was so awesome. It was the closest thing to what I'm trying to achieve in a sci-fi comic, and it was amazing. And I got so excited just to read that. The story was good, the characters were unique, and I could really feel the love and appreciation that went into it. And it's a shame that it won't come out anymore due to the unfortunate events.
Yeah, that's awful. But I mean, that's still, I mean, even just knowing that came out in the end, it's something great. And, it speaks to something in regards to art, uh, going on after, your creators have passed. And I think I can speak for myself, and I'm sure many artists, that that's generally what we want to do, right? Is we want to create
Hmm.
something that has a legacy that outlives us. Um, and that's certainly something I can see you're trying to build. Sonderon really does strike me as a character, especially reading. There's one thing where it's like you describing a character to me on stream and off, and talking about him, and then finally getting around to really reading him and knowing his personality. That really,
Yeah,
because a character design is great, and it is a great design, and that's saying something. I was about to say, you would think, like, with big-headed aliens, I don't want to say you've seen it all, because, like, there's so many, right?
yeah.
But, like, people, really, it does amaze me when people show creativity when it comes to, as I was reading through your stuff, just really thinking about sci-fi as a genre, and especially with creature and alien designs, how it really almost shows how great an artist can be. Because, like, even though I'm a writer and whatever too, but, like, really, there are times where you got to think, okay, the artist, it's time for the writer to take a back seat, because what the artist is going to come up with is something amazing, right? And you definitely do that, and I like that, even down to the hands and the number of fingers, that's something different, right? uh
I think the biggest feature would be his abs. No, not his abs, his pecs.
yeah, his
Divide in
yeah.
three.
Well, the thing is, yeah, his little, I don't even, what would you even call the, I like it
They're
though that you
pecs.
can't,
They're
yeah,
definitely
pecs.
pecs. It's just like if you took a human pec that's like packed in muscle and you divide it in three, like
That's
across.
cool. See, even little things like that, like, how did you come up with that?
Dude, I gotta be honest, I don't know.
You
I
just kind of did
just
it.
Yeah, it's like it's like a happy accident. One day I was just drawing, and next thing you know, I was like, huh, I wonder what that would look like. And it literally was a happy accident. I couldn't explain
Mhm.
what the reasoning behind it just looked physically appealing.
That's one of the things too. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say them on air, but, like, there are ideas I've had where I'm like, oh, I like that from this thing. I like that. And then I just kind of, in my head, even though I'm not an artist, I'll write it down in the description where it's like, oh, all these things combined, this is what it looks like. You
Yeah.
know, it's just sometimes it happens. And it doesn't have to be some, like, deep philosophical or what, or a story based reason. Just be, it looks cool. I like
Yeah,
it.
that's
You know,
there's nothing wrong with, doing something because it's cool. It,
Travko says the best art is fuck around and find out method. Is that the main cover font from the Action Comics font?
no, it's actually its own thing. Me and my buddy of mine from the Cuba school, we were going over voyage design, so we were literally penciling out the title, trying to figure it out. So, I mean, if it did look similar, I mean, that's definitely like it's not a coincidence. Kind of like, oh, that's cool. I guess we may have like subconsciously thought about it, but we didn't have it in mind.
Great minds think alike. Yeah, that's one thing I will say. Logos is something
You got to have a
it's
good
funny.
logo.
Again, even though I'm a writer editor, I really start to pay attention to this stuff. Like, even down to, like, I've talked about this on my regular streams before, but, like, the Steranko, that he hated the original X-Men logo so much, because if you look at it, it's so tacky. But, like, Steranko wasn't even assigned to do this. He was doing this cover. He's like, you know what? Redesigns the X-Men logo. Been the logo. They might have changed it in recent years, but, like, for all of Uncanny X-Men, like, and before Uncanny, like, when it was just still called the X-Men, they had this beautiful logo where it's like this, it's almost like sideways. Like, just a logo really can mean a lot, where it's like it just adds to a cover, and this, I think, works well too. And I know you've got some, speaking of covers, you've got a variant cover, right here.
Yeah, that's the
Same
Chris
thing.
Campagna variant cover.
Dude, he's so good. Because I've talked
Hmm.
to him a few times. I've met him. The first time I met him was actually so Jay and Silent Bob is my local comic book shop. And I went in and I started talking to him. And even when he's doing covers, he's thinking like a storyteller. Like he's saying how like he was told basically to do this pinup, and he goes, no, no, I want to do this whole thing where like, and it's conveying something, and he just thinks on another level. So like there's I'm not a huge variant cover guy. I've been very open about that, but there are some that I'm like, I really like, and I like Chris's a lot because again, I like covers that I like the occasional pinup cover, but you know what I mean? But it's got to be like, for me at least, I feel it's got to be used sparingly. Like there is that, of course, Wolverine issue 17, where it's just he's leaping out. Does not really say anything about the story, but it's like, okay, we're 17 issues in, you get one. But
Yeah,
this one, when you can get multiple storytelling covers like you have here, like this one, right? And then this one's also, the main one's also telling a story, right? You've got conflict, you've got a character front and center, and they're dynamic. That's something special. And those are the kind of variant covers I'll look at. And generally, even though the occasional pinup, but these are the ones I'm more inclined to get, or the
oh
more
yeah,
inclined to dive between is, I
because
really like this.
to add into that, it's like to me, I find it really boring. I would not as a fan look in on this campaign and just see Sonderon doing this,
Yeah.
like just like with his sword, just like posing in very
Yeah.
like basic way, like um
Now, if it was a
every cover.
woman,
I mean, it's the same thing. Even if it's a woman, like it's
right.
to me, it's boring. I really like you said, when stuff is happening. So I told Chris, I was like, "This is what I want. I like these three bounty hunters. They're going to try and attack them. I'm visualizing a He-Man Masters of the Universe type of artwork scene where these enemies are charging at He-Man or something like that. Go crazy over it." And he just took it, and dude, it's like it could be a statue. That's how fucking beautiful it is.
And it's not even just that. I mean, I also see a little bit of a Conan quality too. Man's not wearing a lot of clothes, and he almost like a 300s thing too. But even down to like these just bounty hunters, right? They're each different from each other because even like when I'm writing a script, I'll be like Thug 1, Thug 2, Thug 3, right? But it'll be like generally they'll be like the same outfit, kind of like how the goons, like all the Hydra goons or the AIM goons, and I'm not knocking those or stormtroopers of the same thing, but even down to like the side characters or the thugs, you'll have them of different races and whatever, and that's
Yeah.
just really cool.
This is
Uh,
an unspoken thing, but a lot of these guys, they don't like doing OC commissions. A lot because they want to go ahead and do Spider-Man, Batman, Moon Knight, things that will sell at a show because they'll go back to it. But you know, with something like this, you could tell that he didn't really have that feeling behind it. He was like, "Dude, this is really cool. Can't wait to get on it." He worked on it, and it came out like a banger. I really liked it.
and then Trafco in the chat is saying, man, you saying that made me think a modded He-Man figure of Sonderon would look dope. Give him the sword as an accessory.
Dude, that would
Yeah,
be sick.
yeah, that would be sick. You know what, guys? Because I think we can get that one day, but today, let's get the story first. And I want you guys to fall in love with this character the same way I have. And from there, then we can get there. But let's talk about the story. But first, let's play the trailer. All right, let's just
Yeah.
let's play the trailer, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, dude, this is so cool. Every time I keep looking at it.
And there we are, guys. And we're at 15%, only one day. We're now on our second day, and this is only the beginning. We got it. But I do, yeah. So I think that's great. So why don't you tell us a bit about this story then? Tell us about Sonderon. Tell us, what the story is about. Give us the rundown.
So, all right. I'll go a little bit in depth with it because whenever I talk
Oh, shit,
about,
was there no sound? I'm sorry about that, guys. Was there no sound on that?
oh no, there was supposed to be sound. I thought you had it. It was playing sound on your end. That's
It
why I was.
was. I'm so
Oh,
sorry. That was unprofessional of me. I'll have to.
it's
You
all
guys, you know
good.
what? You guys can watch the trailer. The link will be in the chat. So for that awkward portion of the show, you can just skip right ahead. But so
um,
Zach, tell us about the story.
I'll go a little bit in depth because like other shows, I briefly gloss it. But basically, we um we focus on Sonderon, but the backstory of him, his ancestors gotten into a lot of trouble with the gods, and the gods has fractured the universe. And generations upon generations later, the universe is in a bad shape. And the Cometan system, which is Sonderon's species, where he's from, Helio Delta, which is in the Cometan quadrant, is a cursed system. Nobody goes in, nobody is left out. So Sonderon is the first of his species to leave his star system, and there's a lot of xenophobia against him. A lot of people don't know how to react around this Cometan because there's a lot of dead religion tied to this individual or his species, and Sonderon just has to figure that out. Like he's on a hero's quest to find an artifact that is deeply tied to that dead religion, and that artifact is supposed to unite the universe again by bringing the gods back and fixing everything. But like I said, it's a dead religion. There's some cults that are after it. Some conquerors that know the truth behind it, but the vast majority of the populace, just think it's a fabled story that you tell your kids to make them behave. And basically, so Sonderon is like that 18-year-old kid who gets kicked out of his house and has to figure out his way, in the real world. He's got to relearn what he thought life was all about. And he gets taken advantage of very easily. There's going to be moments where people are going to try and kill him. What happens in the first issue, the reason why it's 32 pages, is because I want the reader to experience the impact of who this individual is, what he's actually going through, what his thought process is. And then halfway through that issue, bam, things start rolling like a stack of dominoes. Like one act of kindness that he did once leaving that star system starts spiraling out of control in this events that will go, all these individuals behind the scene will go and try to take him. So, yeah, like Sonderon, he's got a lot ahead.
I like that a lot, and a lot of it really comes through when you read it. The character is very animated, and because there's always something about describing your idea versus seeing it. And so he was kicked out for what reason again of his own star system?
So his species, there's 4 different kinds of Cometans. Each species lives on each planet, right? Because it was the Cometan planet used to be one, and when it was fractured, it separated into 4.
Right.
Sonderon is on one of them called Helio Delta. So then you have Gamma, Beta, and Alpha. So Sonderon had his own little mini hero's journey as a young adult, going to every planet. And then it led to him escaping the last planet and is quested to find that artifact. So he can't go back to that system because once he does, there's going to be a lot of his own kind after him. So, but that stuff isn't important because that's kind of like it's like one of those things when you're reading TMNT and you're following through what they're going through. But when they talk about his origin, they just do like a 1 to 2 page quick synopsis overview, and then they go right back into the. It's kind of like that. If I
So he's an outlaw.
he is an outlaw, yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool. Yeah, well, that's interesting, and that's something I think that your stuff definitely feels like it's. Here's the background. Let's get right into it.
Exactly.
And I think that it's a very endearing character on the page. And I will say, not only do we have this 32 pager, which is only $10 by the way, and no ads. Unlike the big two will have ads in there, but this isn't going to have that, right? This is going to be higher quality than that. And no ads, just 32 pages. Because right,
It's 48 pages, but the actual
48 pages.
Yeah, the first story is 32, and then I threw a bonus story, which is
Wow.
8 pages. And then a lot of that other stuff that's filler is like pinups and like what do you call it? Like extra stuff about the character to, really get the person who's buying it. I'm giving them their money's worth, basically.
That's good shit. And there's also the art contest. I know is going to be included in, right? The winner of the art
The
contest.
winner of the art contest that I'm having right now, that will end at the end of the campaign. One winner will get a spot dedicated in the book to be printed with from now to the end of days.
Oh yeah, that's important. That's important. So make sure to get your eyes on that. So once this book is funded, you'll have published art if you win that art contest. So make sure you back this campaign, and make sure that you join that art contest if you have any artistic talent at all. Because
Actually, there's some art submissions that I posted in the campaign to show examples of what people have done so far.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like halfway through the bottom, but yeah, I was like I was really shocked at how many people I've got so far participating in the art contest, and I'm touched because I'm so used to drawing this character a lot. It is a feeling when other people draw this character, it just throws me in for a loop.
And where is it exactly?
I think you passed it. Yeah, you passed it.
Got so much
There
in
it
this
is.
campaign. It's great. Yeah, look at these, man. Already three really good ones, including Drafco's in the chat right now. But right here, let's go back up because, as I mentioned, you might be wondering, oh, how do I know this character? And it's not because I've read this script. It's actually because, like I said, when I first met Bobby and Zach, he already had an anthology, and I just read it. It's great. It's because that's available as part of this campaign, right? Where's the?
It's available on. I'm offering the anthology book and Voyager Call as an add-on, but I'm offering the digital PDFs of those books as a tier for $15.
You hear that? Yeah, the digital as a tier for $15. That's a great thing for if you want it all digital. But I have it all physical. Paper quality is nice. It really, and I'm not just saying like it. Even like this little one, right? This cheap little one. It's super. I don't know what you printed it on, Zach, but it feels great. It looks
so like. Yeah, paper quality is a big thing for me, and granted, the Voyage anthology book, that was a learning experience, and paper quality is all right. For Voyage the Call, I really, because I see that book as a travel companion where you take it on the go, right? I wanted the quality to be tough. It would be hard to really, damage that issue. So that's why I went for a little bit of a thickness on the cover. And the pages have like a solid gloss to it, so it's not that smudgeable.
absolutely. And these are totally worth it. And Zach, I know because the anthology in this one, by the way, let me just say, fan reading order, kind of like how there's like whatever. I would say, and Zach can correct me if I'm wrong, because I read the call first because it was shorter, and there was a point in my time where I'm like, okay, which. In hindsight, what I actually like is that you can read a story, put it down. It's one of those great comics. Like it kind of reminds me of how DC, they were doing all those anniversary issues with all these little short stories. I don't know if you remember that, but anyway,
if you're bored, I do.
If you're like at say a doctor's office, or say you're in between tasks, you can just read a short story quick. So I read this one first. You can do the same with this. and I actually recommend you read this first because one of the stories in the anthology and these are both little stories ties into this because I read this and I enjoyed it because it worked either way. Either way, you don't have to, read that to read this, but it's kind of how it should be with these kind of anthologies where it's like almost like if you read both, you're like, oh, that's a nice callback. So I would definitely recommend getting both of these as well as the issue 1 because you really get more. And
you want to hear something funny?
No, I'm kidding. Yes.
In that anthology book, Sonderon is actually doing a consistent travel between every single story. So it's not like it's out of random.
Mm-hmm.
It's every single story, even though it's different, is actually in tandem to how the story's going through in the novel. So, for example, my story, he takes out man, that book is oh my god, excuse me, man. I did that book a while ago. So in my story, which starts the book off in the anthology, he's at a bar, takes down a few thugs, and then he frees a lot of individuals, and then he leaves on this planet that he's on. And then the next story, you see him in the side panel, and he's like, what do you call it? He's trapped. He's strapped in, and he gets freed at the end of that story by this pot smoking demon, and they're chit chatting with each other. And then the next story, they're chit chatting on the edge of a rock, a mountain.
Yeah.
And then Sonderon gets possessed, and then he gets freed. And then after that story, there's like a space Viking story, but you see his ship fly in. So he's flying by all that stuff that's happening in the story after that. I think it's like Stowaway, and it's like 2 pages. But, it's like he's consistently doing something and the beat isn't skipping. So if the reader really wanted to, like, piece it together, they can.
And there's pinups in between each story, and each pinup is great. Like, your pinups are like, and I didn't mean to knock pinups before. I like them, but they're great. Like, you not only have the stories, but you have a pinup between each one. That's great. And then even some at the end. And yeah, so I'm curious, is the anthology, do you consider it canon to Voyage or no?
It is. Every book I've done for Voyage so far is canon.
Ooh,
and
all right, guys, you hear that? Read it. You want the full story? Get it all.
So, like, the first issue that I'm having on the campaign, that actually is the beginning. So that's the start of it. Voyage the Call fits in between issue 6 and 7. Voyage Anthology fits in between right after 6. And Voyage the Call happens in between 6 and 7. And then,
6 and 7 of what?
Voyage. I haven't gotten to those issues.
Oh,
yet.
yeah. So we're getting ahead. So you're getting a head start.
The anthology, that was the thing, because like a rule of thumb that I learned from somebody, they said if you don't know how to start something with a character and you're trying so hard and you're to figure it out and you're packing all this detail in the beginning, don't do it. Just if you want to make a book of your own character, just get to the cool part and then you'll figure the rest out later as you keep going. Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, that's part of why I think writing issue 1s are so hard, dude. It's so hard. Like, even when I was writing, I was like started going all the way back to the childhood, and I was like, and then I'm like, okay, which parts do I skip? It's a whole thing with writing. Like, I'm sure you have this whole backstory, but it's like, get to the action.
Yeah, because nobody at the end of the day cares. In order for them to care
later, maybe
they'll care later, but they will care once they start reading the story progressively. So they won't care if you're just talking about it.
Yeah.
So,
or if you're going to learn about the character or make the backstory, it's got to be action moving. It's got to be part of the cool part, right?
Yeah, you just can't slow down.
No, you can't. And and that definitely shows. So, I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun. And so you have, when in doubt, start your story as close to the end as possible. Bring the fire. That's interesting. Yeah,
that is an interesting take.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I'm learning that as I go, learning more and more and more. But it's a very cool project. And one thing I will say about this, by the way, because while you're watching this on my channel, let me see if we went up any backers yet. But every backer that happens while on my stream today is going to be an extra 20 minutes, and I'm going to have to stay live with you guys. Now, from the last time, I already have an extra hour. This is for the after party, by the way. Zach is, full interview. You're getting a full interview whatever. But that's just a bonus reason. If you want any more reason to back this beautiful, beautiful book, that's it. And after the fact, don't worry. It's still. But that's just if you really, really want to back it now, you should. But so, Zach, you mentioned because what made you want to be an artist?
To be honest, it was once I read Web of Spider-Man issue 66. When I read that book, dude, it was like going to, it's like what people say when they experience Disneyland. It's like, when they somebody gets married for the first time. And when I read that as a kid, it was I had a rough childhood, honestly. And like, dude, when I picked up that book, man, I escaped into this different plane, and I wanted more of that because the story was so good. And I'm like, here is, Peter Parker that I related to, and he's going through this hard, difficult time trying to, like, pay rent. His best friend is the Goblin, and he doesn't know how to, like, help him. Mary Jane just keeps avoiding. So I was like, damn, this guy's going through it, and dude, it changed, man. Like that, I knew that's exactly what I wanted, because I know when I do this stuff, I want whatever kid is going through it to pick up my stuff, and then come to me 20, 30 years later or something like that and tell me, like, listen, man, I've always loved your stuff. It really inspired me to keep going, and I knew I knew what to do. I feel like I've done my job once I get that.
Absolutely. I honestly, and I was listening totally, and I want to get back to that because I actually do have 2 copies of that issue. Two different people gave me. I bought that. An uncle gave me that, and someone else. So clearly, you're not alone in loving that issue. But I was writing down some of Travco's advice and some of the others because I'm like, as a writer, and that's the thing. Every time I hear good advice, I'm like, oh man, did I follow that? Oh shit, oh shit. I'm sure we always get that, and I definitely like learning from Zach and people who have created stuff. Because I haven't done my own comic in the way that Zach has, and so I always like to learn things. But Stephen King's rule: don't sweat the small stuff. Start hot and utilize context clues along the way to fill in the gaps. Hook them hot, then sprinkle backstory as small rewards. That's good thinking. I've done that a bit. Because I early on did that, and then I went back, and then I'm kind of finding a happy medium where I give backstory on some stuff, but I sprinkle it in. And Zach seems to have it right, where he's just, let's sprinkle it in over there. Because even in this little, however, how many pages was your story in the anthology?
It was 88. It was definitely 88 for the first anthology. And Voyage of the Call was like 32 pages.
Yours was how many? But I mean, saying just specifically your story within the.
It was 10 pages.
10 pages. Within 10 pages, I mean, you get so much, and the dialogue was very solid too. I know you came up with the story, but how much of the dialogue do you write?
I did that whole thing. I wrote the dialogue. I did the pencils and inks. I had Nick Capone color it. And I also had my buddy of mine letter it. So I did most of the artwork on it.
Good shit, man. It's all good stuff. Right here, we got all this, as you can see here. This is a lot of fun looking at all this. All this stuff you got. So we got, I know with the anthology, it was while you were at the Kubert School, right? And a bunch of the other artists you got to participate.
Yeah, I was a second-year student when I started doing that anthology. I pretty much set the record. I set a record that wasn't there quite yet. I mean, it wasn't uncommon for me, for students who have attended there to make a comic while they were there, but I made an 88-page anthology by grouping in 23 students, including myself, to make that monster. Was able to finish it to the best of our abilities at the time. That set in a record. It was like it was no small feat at all. It's kind of like a statement, what the school can do if you do all the work and you pay attention and you go in for the right reasons.
You hear that, guys? Yeah, Zach's a trendsetter, and not only that, he's a record breaker, record setter, and record breaker. And that was before he graduated the Cooper School. Now imagine what he can do now.
Yeah.
Just imagine. So with that in mind, and hurdling artists together, I imagine must be a pain. But Zach got it done.
Yeah,
So,
the biggest thing was that a lot of people had their own characters or something that they weren't fleshing out completely quite yet, but they knew what they wanted to do. And I wasn't the only one, so I was like, fuck it. Like, I want to make a comic. I don't want to wait anymore on this character. I want to get going. So I started, talking to a lot of these guys, like, listen, dude, let's just say, fuck it. Let's do it now. And a lot of the people who did the work in the book were the ones that pulled through in the end. Dude, there was a point where I was like, dude, this book isn't going to happen. I don't know what to do. I literally had a dream of like, it was weird. It was like me and Sandra on hanging out with each other. It was at the beginning of the year. It was like my third year, right? No. Yeah, it was the beginning. It was the beginning of my third year, but it didn't start through my third year at school. It was just, the second semester, my second year. And what do you call it? I was just so like tranced that like one night I passed out. I had a dream where I'm with Sonderon. We're hanging out as best buddies. And I asked him, I was like, hey, dude, like, could you go to the convention, New York Comic Con, October like 11th or something like that? I got a book that I'm making about you. I would have really appreciated if you went. And Sonderon sitting on the chair, he's like, yeah, I'll do it for you. Now, when there was more into the dream, but that was the gist of it. But when I woke up, one, the date was never announced for New York Comic Con, for one. And two, I didn't know the actual page count, and I said the page count in the dream. So I knew when I woke up, I'm like, this book is actually happening. It's definitely going to happen. So that's why I never gave up on that, putting it together. And
yeah,
it was
man.
hard.
He never gave up. Wait, more to the dream. They kissed. Is that true, Zach? Did
No.
you kiss Sandra?
No.
Tropico says you don't have to imagine what Zach can do. You can see it. Back voyage. Exactly. You can back it right now, and you should. You absolutely should. And for those of you that have backed it, do us all a favor. Share it out on your socials because you're going to want this. And listen, all this stuff, it's worth a read. And so, Zach, I know getting back to Spider-Man with Web of Spider-Man, because that issue, even I haven't actually read the issue in question, even though I own 2 copies and now have gotten them signed. But, were those some of your favorite villains? Just because, I always like to.
For which one?
What was it? Web of Spider-Man 66. I know it was what, Green Goblin.
They weren't like mine. So like I never saw these like type of characters before, but they weren't my favorite. They did grab me. Like, I mean, Green Goblin was definitely like such a weird. A lot of it was all like weird to me, and that was so cool because it was like, dude, like these corny ass like characters, they physically look weird, and they were able to grab my attention so fast, and it was all cool. And yeah, I was just like, I kept going back to the comic store, just like and looking at everything, from Blue Beetle to Booster Gold, from Spider-Man to Superman, Batman it was just nonstop, and it was insane how there was literally so much that I had no idea about. So I got hooked real fast into that the comic book realm.
Right, and that's one of the things. So, what do you think makes comic books so special as a medium? When we're talking about film, when we're talking about TV, and when we're talking about video games, what is something in books? What is something special about comics that you feel?
All right,
you like much?
And when you're seeing, like, I look at it this way: when you're looking at a movie, when you're watching it, you're just sitting on a couch and you're just letting your mind like drain, just kind of melt on, as you're watching it. there is some form of engagement, but it's not like, to me, it's not really there. When you're reading a comic book, you gotta read in between the lines. You're looking at all the little innuendos and all the like little tidbits that artists like to throw in the in the background. It's just it's crazy. I mean, like, dude, like even in ads, like they get creative with the ads. Like, you're flipping in between the pages. Next thing you know, you see like some, cool ad, of that character, and the characters like interacting with the reader. And I'm just like, it was so unique. There were like every aspect of the comic book is so engaging. And there's this the stories that they tell and the way that they do it is impactful to me, more so than a movie, because you're really feeling what the characters go through when they're
Mhm.
thinking to themselves. On a movie, there's no subtitle of their thoughts, like, of
Right.
what's going on in their head. I remember like reading certain like I remember reading certain panels in Steve Ditko's Spider-Man run from the very beginning. And Peter's just like, dude, he, like, no matter what's going on with him, like, he never thinks that any good will come out of it. Like, he'll get a girlfriend, lose it the same day. You
Mhm.
know, he paid his rent, or Aunt May is like healthy. Like, he's not happy about it. He's just worried, like, damn, what if her heart gives out next time? So it's such a realistic thing that reading it, that I just wouldn't feel that impact watching it in a movie.
Absolutely. 100%. And there really is, there's something where it's this place between, like a storyteller's paradise, in the sense that it's like it's a place between the prose realm of novels and the visual realm of movies, and it's like really a great playground where you can kind of bounce between these more cinematic elements and the sort of novelistic sort of elements, and I think that's great. uh Anime is healthy, 26 minutes total each year. Time to put the old girl out to
I
yeah,
mean, like,
anime is always struggling with health problems. It's true.
there's so much, like, comics. It's a beautiful a beautiful medium. And I'm just happy to be part of that,
Mhm.
honestly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so Spider-Man is your favorite character for that reason, right? That relatability in large part.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, there's other characters that I've grown really fond of, but Spider-Man is like that top tier guy that I
Hmm.
go, hardcore with. And it's at the point where, like, even in comic books, characters have an end. And Peter Parker, 7 times over, has hit that end that I don't want to keep seeing him in comics. I want to see somebody else take the
Hmm.
mantle completely, just rest him off on the sideline now. He's more than earned as a character, that, like, NIP just more than earned it. But they keep beating it with a dead bush, so
Dead Bush.
I said that wrong. I just caught that. They beat it with like a stick, they beat it with a stick 1,000 times over.
Died Bush.
Died
Yeah.
bush.
Zach, you do got a bit of an echo.
Do I?
I think so.
I don't know.
Does he have? All right, chat. Let me know. Does he have a bit of an echo? I think he does. But right here, I mean, this is a lot of, this is going to be a good, really solid read. And so when it comes to the sci-fi genre, I know you mentioned sci-fi comics. Do you have any sci-fi movies that are your favorites?
Oh, Avatar, Navi. My
Mm.
favorite one though is Enemy Mine, with Dennis Quaid. That
Yeah.
movie is powerful and it's awesome. And for the time that it came out, the effects are pretty damn good.
Yeah, I don't think I still don't think I've seen that one,
You
but
gotta
I know
see
you've
it.
mentioned it. You've mentioned it
I
as a
mentioned
thing.
it a few times. You gotta see it.
I absolutely will. You should draw a Sondra and Spidey team up image just for the future.
Just for
Hmm.
fun. Somebody paid me because, like, I could do it for funsies, but that's like it's like when you start meddling, with like this, like what if type of thing, your own OC with a character that's been around for that long in another company, you kind of like, I don't know, it's a wishy-washy type of thing. If somebody paid me, I'd do it.
Absolutely. But speaking of other companies and stuff, Zach, if you watched to the end of that trailer, there was a something really interesting. Adam Kubert did a piece for you.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
When I was putting together the anthology, in the summertime, after my second year was up and I was ready to start my third year, I was in the hallway in the basement level of the Kubert School, and I was doing maintenance cleaning, just to like, pay some of the bills that I had. And Adam Kubert passed by me, and we started talking. And I was like, dude, I was like mouthing off, like, oh, dude, I'm so excited about this anthology, dude. Like, I can't wait till this is done. Everybody that's with me, they're like my family that I never had, man. And just, I just want to see us and like all of us get our stories out there. Adam Kubert just like stopped me in my tracks. It's like, is there anything I can do for that? And like, I was just like, excuse me? And he goes, yeah, is there anything, do you need anything you need for me to do? I'd like to help out. And I couldn't come up with like an answer. He's like, I'll give you a couple days to figure it out and then come back, come to my office and we'll talk. And I'm like, yeah, thank you, man. So I was freaking out, dude. I was freaking the hell out. And like I went in the office and I tried to get the words out of my mouth. And I'm not one to go ahead and stumble on my words. Like when I'm talking to a celebrity in the industry of any kind, but or asking anything from anybody. But oh my god, dude, when I was in his office, like face to face with him, trying to conjure up the words, it was difficult. So when I asked him, why, maybe could you like, I don't know, if you have the time, I don't know, like, I had this idea in my head, maybe a drawing for the book. And he was like, yeah, I'll do a drawing for the book. And I'm like, so I wanted him to do Sonderon. He did it. By the end of the summer, I got it. And wow, dude, I was, that was a monumental moment. That was a statement to me that like, I got something good going here and I can't give it up.
Yeah, damn right. So Adam Kubert approved is another thing.
Oh yeah, definitely an
That's
Adam Kubert approved.
and that Adam Kubert art. I'll show it again. Is
It's on the bottom actually. It's a stretch goal.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So that's perfect because we can get right into the that part of it. So if this hits, it's 10K, right? If this hits 10K, you guys will get this as a print with colors.
Yeah, it's an 8.5 by 11 print, and any backer for anything physical, we hit that goal, everybody gets an authentic 8.5 by 11 numbered print, because this is only a campaign thing I'm doing. It's never going to appear after that. And between you and me, Vaughn, and everybody that's listening, I'm in talks with Adam Kubert to do a Virgin variant cover, to use this image for Virgin variant cover, so I can offer it as a $45 tier.
Ooh.
And I can't do anything yet until I get the confirmation from Marvel. So I gotta wait. I can't just
Be
bounce on
cool,
that.
Marvel. That would be awesome. That would be so cool. I mean, this can't, like, as much as this it's so badass, this cover right here, this piece of art. Just look at this. It's so. Even the sword is unique too.
Yeah,
I like it.
It's an amazing vignette. It's perfect for a Virgin variant cover. There's no words to be said on this.
No, there doesn't need to be. Not even a title.
Nope.
You just get that.
No, nothing. It's just going to be as is.
I mean, this is a master of his craft, really. And I'm really, and it's not just because it's by Adam Kubert. I mean, that's just great in general.
Yeah,
dripping too, just everything. It just looks great, man.
Yeah, it's Dude, every time I see it, I still get chills. I have it hanging on my wall.
So that's another reason to back, guys. It's like if we get together, we get 10K, you guys all get this collector's item and this beautiful piece of art. All of you get it. Everyone who back gets it, right? If it hits 10K.
Yeah, everybody who backs it, they get that print. I mean, not the digital tier, because it sucks because of the shipping costs and stuff that I have to deal with. I gotta like pay out of pocket for it. But anybody who gets a physical of anything, they automatically get this in their packages.
So what are you guys waiting for then? If gets physical, the digital is great too if you want some of that. But if you want this physical, you got to get it. And that's not the only print. And that's one of the things I know, like variant covers, because I've always wondered, because there's all these variant covers, and it's like, it's almost like, it's like there's people, I often wonder, well, okay, a lot of these variant covers you get and they just sit in your shelf. Why aren't these often prints? And so you have some of that. You have some campaign exclusive prints, which I think is a brilliant idea that I've actually thought of before in the past, and you're acting on it. Tell us about that.
When I did a previous campaign it was supposed to be the sequel to the first anthology, it didn't fund, and some of the stuff that I had for it, I paid good money for it, and they're great images, beautiful artwork, and I'm like, well, hell, dude, if I have this, I can use it again. So the Bob Harden, he's done band poster gigs for ZZ Top, Metallica. He's also does stuff in the comic book industry. He's also the artist for this book. I'm waiting for it to come out, Seven Deadly Sinners.
Yes, which is for Phenom Comics that I got my first work for. So yeah.
And with something like that, I was like, dude, I don't want to let that go to waste. I want people to get the opportunity to go grab that. So I offered that as a print, because that I could have done a variant cover, but that's the thing, that to me looks gorgeous on a wall than putting it in a paper bag and plastic and throwing it in a box.
And that's this one, or that's which one?
It's $50, I believe. You're going to see it's the only image. It's that one right there.
And you get all this stuff, by the way, when you get this print. It's not like you're paying $50 for just the print. You're paying for that and all of this. Whoa! Dude, that is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It would look great on a wall. And it has... Wow. And a desktop, too. Is that available for desktop,
too? Desktop? Yeah, desktop. Yeah, I could even throw that as a desktop screen image, too.
That's great, dude. That'd be beautiful. Be great stream background too. Honestly, that's great. And for retailers, Zach, if you guys, any retailers are watching this and you want something to carry, Zach is also willing to work with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Zach?
I don't even charge shipping for the retailer tier.
Damn right. And he'll talk to you. This is a reasonable man. Look at this guy. He knows his shit. And you got, what's this? The Gun Runners.
Gunrunner tier, I offer not one but 2 prints, I believe. I think that's what it says. Yeah.
Where is that? Can we get a bigger?
You can just scroll up a little bit. It'll say 11x17 print A, print B, right there. You get those 2 prints for that tier. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, should have been doing that. Oh yeah, there we go. There's the Bob Harden exclusive print if you want that. And then these 2. Look at that, dude. So are there, because I'm confused because the anthology showed some humans. So are there humans in this whole?
No, there's no humans at all in this comic. But this print
are in the universe.
Yeah, some of these characters are part of that universe. But I'm not the teller of those stories.
But I'm wondering because we learned some things about Earth in the anthology and get hints at some things. Is that all canon?
Say that again?
In the anthology, without spoiling anything, because you guys could read it, but I've read it. You learned some things about Earth in one particular story that I thought was excellent.
That isn't canon. We'll call it like a different Earth from a universe from very far away.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was just wondering, but so you get some out of universe shit too. That's great.
Oh yeah.
And then you can even get the script, guys. Even the script.
Oh, and here's the thing. I was thinking about it. It's not going to be a clean filed script that people are getting. When people get the script, I'm going to scan every single page that I did, that I have like markings on, corrections, dialogue deletion. Like I'm going to scan every single page. I'll just show you some of them, but like
those would make great collector's
you'll
items.
see thumbnails.
Guys, that for any creators, that is something special, because even like years after I read the Arkham Asylum story, I found I was like, oh yeah, didn't there creator stuff in there, or even the Frank Miller Daredevil omnibuses? You know, you look at those
There's
concept
scribbles.
art or scripts, original scripts. That stuff is so helpful as a creative. So if you're a creative and you want to get, you know, that firsthand knowledge, or you just want to learn the process behind it, even if just casually as a fan.
I want people to get the authenticity of all this shit. So like when I offer the script as like a thing, I'm scanning every single page on that and then throwing that into like a file so that can get printed and delivered, not have it cleaned. So
I'm gonna have to figure out how I would go, because I'm gonna have to steal that idea. The problem is I've written so many goddamn drafts that there's no way it would be hundreds of pages of content if I were to get. I'd have to figure that out. But that is a genius idea.
Oh yeah.
Get all this stuff right here, all of this, and what else? Oh, you can get a remark too.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I had to do. I didn't have enough time to do research on it, but I did want to do like a $200 type of tier where I do a custom sketch cover, whatever somebody wants, and then I submit it through CTC.
Ooh,
and then
that would be cool.
Yeah, but there's some complications in that. I don't know. I can't do it quite yet, so I'm gonna hold off on that until I know how to do it. But for at the moment, a remarquee is a good tier.
It's a very good tier. Then let's check this one out. 11. This is the 11 by 17.
Oh yeah. I do 11 by 17 commissions, so whatever anybody wants, I'll do it. I got some examples literally on the screen of what my art is. And I don't disappoint for what people pay for. I put in 110% every time.
That's good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, you know, we're talking, and I'm going to finish going through the campaign, but I want to ask some more questions. What, hold on a second. Okay, so, and then there's the original art too. And I encourage all of you to look through this campaign. But I do want to ask you guys this. Oh, by the way, we got 8 people took advantage of the early bird. Should have been more. But
I agree.
No, you know, it's all right. You guys can still get all of this. And the early birds, you know, good on you guys. But I want to ask, because I should have asked this earlier. I normally do. Who are your biggest artistic influences? Who are your favorite artists and your biggest influences?
Todd McFarlane, hands down, is like up there, like number one. But here we go. Mark Schultz, Wally Wood, Travis Williamson, what do you call it? Virgil Finley, James Herron, and Daniel Warren Johnson.
Those are some good picks. All right. Well, let's see. Do we have anything? Yeah. So on that note, we've got all this great stuff that's coming out. Guys, make sure you back and make sure you spread the word around if you backed it. Tweet about it. All of that stuff. We're going to be continuing the show onwards for the after party. And if you like this, and this is, again, I will happily sign this for free if any of you guys bring this up to me at a convention now that I'm going to be an editor.
That's going to be sick, man.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We could table together or something. So make sure you get this book out there, and then you could see us at a con or, you know, whatever. But I'm really looking forward to this. And this is not the only book I'm editing. I want you guys to tune in next Tuesday as I am bringing on some of the creative team for another comic book that is also launching, that I'm working on. Another sci-fi one too, called Star Riders. Now that one I'm going to be having on Tony Bedard, Rob Hunter, Tom Fenoglio, and we'll see who else I can get from the creative team. So tune in next Tuesday. I'm still figuring out exactly how many, but we know at least 3 members of the creative team and myself. So 4 of us will be on that episode. So tune in next Tuesday.
He's right. Travigo's right.
Wait, tweet about it, but put your link in the comments. I didn't know that.
Yep, dude. I just learned that yesterday.
I've been doing that for so long. Holy shit, I had no idea.
It's a pain in the ass, man. There's always new.
Why is everything hard? Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad I learned.
All
right, Trav, go. Well, anyway, I don't know if that's real, but if it is, you're welcome to come on. Anyway, guys, make sure to check that out and stay tuned if you're watching this live, because the after party or the launch party is going to continue as I bring on Zach right after this. We're going to get crazy. Zach, you got any drinks around?
I got drinks, man.
Oh, yeah.
I got to everybody who's listening, there's a campaign called Ninja Witch done by Justin Hunt, who's used to do work for Coffin Comics and stuff. And his wife's character, Ninja Witch, I'm working on a piece right now of Sonderon and Ninja Witch.
Ooh. See, Zach has approval, all right? He's got... They know the potential.
I asked. I didn't want to go out of my way to do it.
That's what I'm saying. And you got the approval. Adam Kubert thought it was good enough to draw. And look at this, man. You're killing it. Let's see this going. He's killing it. Tune in next week to see more of my beautiful face and more of the comics I'm editing. Tune in after this to get more of Zach. And Zach will be around the channel more. And until next time, guys, keep being amazing. Love all of you. And I'll see you guys next time.